Okay, now in this video we go over kind of the writing an equation of a line in slope-intercept form. So when we're writing an equation of a line with a slope of 4 passing through the point negative 5, 2, remember that's x, y. A slope-intercept linear equation looks like y equals something x plus something, and this is my slope m, this is my b, the y-intercept. Why they choose those letters I'll never know. So my slope's easy, that's 4. So we stick a 4 here. B is y equals m times x plus b, mx plus b. And we got to solve for the b here. So the y, m, and x, well, y is 2, m is 4, and then x is negative 5. So I do the operation there, it's negative 20. Okay, and then we undo the addition of negative 20 by adding 20. You don't, 2 plus 20 is 22, so 22 equals b. So there's my equation. Okay. Next one, same idea. Y equals mx plus b. So my m would be negative 1/2, because that's my slope. Okay. And then x, y, there's your, and I got to use that point then to find where the y-intercept's at. Y equals m times x plus b. Okay, so the y is 6. The m is negative 1/2, so I put negative 1/2 right there. And then my x is 12. So negative 1/2 times 12 is negative 6. So 6 equals negative 6 plus b. Now I undo the adding a negative 6. Now it's like undoing subtraction actually, so I add 6, add 6. So 6 plus 6 is 12. So there's my equation. Okay, then in the last one they don't give me a slope. They just give me 2 points on the line, which I have to use to find the slope myself. So write an equation of a line that passes through the points negative 6, 3 and negative 4, 11. Same setup though. Now the formula to find slope, when I don't know it, is y minus y divided by x minus x. Hopefully that rings a bell. So this x, that's y, that's x, that's y. So what are my y's? 3 and 11. You can go 11 minus 3 or 3 minus 11. I'll go 11 minus 3. But if I do that, then I need to go negative 4 minus negative 6. Now, if we're subtracting a negative, we want to go plus, plus. So that's 8, and then that's 2, and then 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay. Now, b is the same process. Y equals m times x plus b. Okay, so y and x can go there, so 11 is my y, and then my m is 4. Times my x is negative 4. So 4 times negative 4 is negative 16, so 11 is equal to negative 16 plus b. For x and y, you either pick one coordinate or the other. Okay, you'll get the same answer out of both if you have the right slope. So add 16, and 11 plus 16 is 27. I don't need to divide because b is just multiplied by 1. Okay, pause the video and do the 2 problems on the back. Okay. Okay, now in this next part, you're finding the slope of a parallel line. Well, the problem is parallel lines have the same slope. Okay, that's a fact you got to know. If you graph 2 lines with the same slope on the same plane, they will be parallel. But I don't know what the slope of that line is because it's in standard form, okay? I need to take the equation, I'm just going to write it so it's bigger, and convert it into slope-intercept form, okay? Actually, I don't even need to do that. I just need to know the slope, okay? That's what it's asking me. So I dot the y because that's the letter I need to get by itself. Now, I unadd my 9x by subtracting, but I put that after the 7, okay? and that's done. Now I will divide by the 4, okay? And then both of these get divided by 4 individually. But I just want the slope, dude. I don't care about that because that's not in front of the x. In front of the x, we have negative 9 over 4. So m equals negative 9 fourths. That's the slope of any line parallel to this line. Okay, next one, 3x plus 2y equals 10. So I dot my y. I subtract 3x. Okay, and then I'm going to divide by 2. Then I divide 10 by 2 and that by 2. But what I'm really concerned about is the slope, which is in front of the x. So that would be negative 3 halves. M equals negative 3 over 2. Okay, next one, we got 5x plus 6y equals 30. And you got to get the y by itself. So we subtract 5x, because right now it's in standard form. I don't know the slope if it's in standard form. And then I divide by 6, but I have two separate terms that need to be divided by 6. Y equals, and the x is here. So the m equals negative 5 over 6. Now, if you end up with a negative over a negative, you need to make it cancel the negatives. Like if that was negative 5, negative 6, I'd just write 5/6. Okay? Okay, pause the video, do the 2 on the back. Now, what you need to do is find the x value out of the list of numbers. You got 14, 8, 16, 14, and x. You need to find that x value, then you need to find what the median is. But I can't find the median until I know the x. Well, I get a bunch of numbers, and I know the mean, okay? Now, the mean is the average. The average is equal to 20. Well, how do you get to a mean? Well, you add up all your numbers, okay, and you divide by how many there are. So how many numbers are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You count the x as a number. Then you add up the numbers you know. 14 plus 8 plus 16 plus 14, 52. And remember the x, you add x, okay? Now, you need to get rid of this 15, this 5, I mean. What's the opposite of divide? Times. So I'm just going to times 20 by 5. That'd be 100. So 52 plus x equals 100. Then I subtract 52 from both sides. And that tells me that x would equal 48. Okay? So cross out that x, put 48. Now you're in a good position to find your median. Median is when you cross out the lowest and the highest, and then the lowest and highest of the remaining numbers, and then lowest and highest till you end up with either 1 or 2 numbers. If you end up with 1 number, that's the answer. If you end up with 2 numbers, you have to add them and divide by 2. So what's the highest? Well, 48. But what's the lowest? 8. Cross those out at a time. Now you got 3 left. You're not done till either you have 1 left or 2 left. We have 3 left, though. What's the next highest? 16 and 14. Cross out one of the 14s. You can only cross out one of them, though. Well, you have 1 number left, and it's 14. That's my median. Okay? Now the next one, okay? You're to find the median. Same setup. Now, how do you get to a mean? The mean's 26.25, but how do you get a mean? The average. There's 4 numbers, including the x. You include the x, so it's 4. And then I add the numbers I know. 18 plus 12 plus 45 would be 75 plus x. Okay, now I don't want that divided by 4, so I'm just going to multiply the other side. So I take 26.25 times 4, and I get 105. So 75 plus x equals 105. Then I can subtract 75, and that finds the missing number, the x. So x is 30. Okay, so put 30. Now what's your highest? 45. The lowest is 12. Now you stop crossing out because now you're down to 2 numbers. You have to find what's halfway in between 18 and 30. So you take 18 plus 30, 48, and then divide that by 2, 24. Okay. Again, to find the median, you need to add them and then divide by 2, and that'd be 24. Okay. So there's your median. Okay, the next one, 5, 16, 4x, and 20. Okay, the mean is 10. Well, you can write an equation based off the mean. Okay, so we're equal to 10. Now you get to a mean by dividing by how many numbers there are, 5. Okay, now add up the numbers you know. You would add 5 plus 16 plus 4 plus 20. So that's 45. Plus the number I don't know, x. So I move that 5 over by multiplying, which is 50. And then we can just subtract 45, and that finds my missing number I did not know, x. X is 5. Okay. So what's your highest? 20. The lowest is 4. What's your next highest? 16. Lowest is 5. And we just get one number left. 5 is the median. Pause the video and work the 2 on the back side. Okay, and then finally, you're going to find a missing number when you don't, out of 3 numbers. You're going to use some algebra. It's pretty easy. There are 3 numbers. The second number is 3 more than the first. The third number is twice the second. That means 2 times the second. The sum of the numbers is 33. What's the first number? Now that sum is where my equation's at. Okay, equals 33. We know that. Now we also know there's 3 numbers, a first, a second, and a third. We don't know anything about the first at all. That's x. The second number is 3 more than the first, so I put x plus 3. The third number is twice the second. Now twice. That means you need to take the x and the 3 both times 2. Okay, with that plus sign, you got to take them both times 2. And that's 2x plus 6. Now cross out those times 2's after you have the third filled out. Now I got 1x, 1x, and 2x. Remember, you're talking sum here. That means added, but you add the x's. That's 4x. And you add the non-x's, and that's 9. So I can just subtract 9. 4x equals 24 divided by 4. And x equals 6. Remember, that's the first number, so x is 6. Finding the other ones would be easy. You just add 3 to it. You're at 9. And then twice 9 is 18. Okay, there are 3 numbers. The second number is 2 more than the first. The third number is 3 times the second. Now the sum is 28. Okay, that means a bunch of them, all 3 added together is 28. So the first, the second, the third. Again, it does not tell me anything about the first, so x. Okay, the second's 2 more than the first, so I don't know the first, so I put x plus 2. The third number is 3 times the second, so I take the second times 3, but I got to take the x and the 2 times 3, so that would be 3x plus 6. Okay, add your x's, 1x, 1x, and 3x, that'd be 5x. And then 1 plus 6 would be 8. And then you can just subtract 8. 5x equals 20. Divide by 5, and x equals 4. Okay, there are 3 numbers. The second number is 4 more than the first. Okay, the third number is twice the second number. What's the first number? The sum is 48. Okay, so you have first, second, third. Okay, x is the first. The second's 4 more than the first. The third number is twice the second number. Okay, so times 2 times 2. That's 2x plus 8. and I forget about the times 2 because it's already served its purpose. So remember, sum means you add, but you can only add the x's, which give you 4x's, then the non-x's, 12. Then I minus 12, 36, and then divide by 4, and that's 9.